And this is our next fact about similar triangles, and that is that the angles of similar triangles, the corresponding angles of similar triangles are congruent, okay? So if two corresponding angles from different triangles are congruent, and the second pair of angles are also congruent, and the third pair of angles are all congruent, then the two triangles are similar, okay? The two triangles will then be similar. So let's say up here, we have this triangle DEF, and it has one angle that's 100, right? Well, over here in triangle ABC, angle B is also 100. Well, over here, the angle D is 50, and look, angle A is also 50. Now, we don't know what angle C is, and we don't know what angle F is. But I want to remind you, remember that the three angles of a triangle add up to 180. So since we already know two of the angles, we know that 150 makes 150. And since all three of them have to add up to 180, that must mean that F is equal, whoops, switch over to a pen here. That must mean that angle F is equal to 30 degrees. And same thing down here, C must also be equal to 30 degrees. And so, since both of these triangles have three congruent angles, then triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF, okay? And we have a postulate here. It's called the angle-angle postulate. And the angle-angle postulate says that if angle A is congruent to angle D and angle B is congruent to angle E, then automatically angle C is congruent to angle F, and the two triangles are going to be congruent, okay? So you only need two congruent angles in order to conclude, or two pairs of congruent angles in order to conclude that the two triangles are similar to each other, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a few examples of how to understand things based on similar angles, based on similar triangles. So let's look at this question, and this is the kind of question you'll see in your practice. It says, suppose that triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF, and angle A is congruent to angle D, and angle B is congruent to angle E, okay? Now, let's say that we know that angle D is 57.4 degrees. Well, that means that angle A is also 57.4 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. So we can say also that angle A must also be 57.4 degrees. And then it says that angle B is 49.2 degrees. Well, that must mean that angle E is also 49.2 degrees because angle B and angle E are congruent. And so now it's saying, well, what is the measure of angle C and angle F? Well, if we know that A is 57.4, here, let me get my pointer. If we know that A is 57.4 and B is 49.2, well, we know that the sum of angle A and angle B and angle C, is equal to 180 degrees. So we know that angle A plus angle B plus angle C is equal to 180 degrees, right? That's just that's the triangle sum theorem. And we know that angle A is 57.4 degrees, and we know that angle B is 49.2 degrees. So now we don't know what angle C is, but we know that they all add up to 180 degrees. So all we have to do is 180 minus 57.4 minus 49.2. So I'll do that in a calculator. 180 minus 57.4 minus 49.2, and that gives us 73.4 equals 73.4, and therefore angles C and F, because they're congruent, they equal 73.4 degrees, okay? Let's try another kind of example that we can do with this similarity information. Suppose we have these two triangles here. We have triangle DEF and triangle ABC. And it says that angle F is 88.4 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here, 88.4 degrees for angle F. Angle E is 41.8 degrees, 41.8 degrees. And then angle A right here, this angle right here, that's equal to x minus 12, okay? And we're assuming that triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. Well, we want to x. Well, I know that angle D is congruent to angle A because they're corresponding angles. And therefore, angle D must be equal to x minus 12 also. I also know that angle D plus angle E plus angle F is equal to 180. And so I can just put in x minus 12 for D plus angle E is 41.8 plus angle F is 88.4, and that has to add up to 180. And so if I do some math here, I've got negative 12 plus 41.8 plus 88.4. So negative 12 plus, oops, I hit the division symbol instead, plus 41.8 plus 88.4, and that equals 118.2. So I have x plus 118.2 is equal to 180. Well, we know how to solve now. We just need to add the inverse, negative 118.2 to both sides. 118.2, move up here a little bit. Okay. This cancels. And so we have x is equal to 180 minus 118.2, which is 61.8. So x is equal to 61.8. Now, it's important to understand that x is not an angle measure. X is just x. We know that A is equal to whatever x is minus 12. So angle A is 61.8 minus 12, which would be 49.8. Okay, so A must be 49.8, but the question is not asking for A, it's asking for X. Okay, that's important to remember.